DGFT to speak about the foreign trade policy of 2023 and its updates. And I think, in fact, Chennai, this is the first meeting after announcement of a physical meeting in Chennai we have organizing, and all credit goes to Madam. Thank you so much for taking this initiative, and thank you so much for giving a few opportunity to organize jointly with you. Thanks a lot, ma'am. To commence the program, I request Mr. Unnikrishnan K, Joint Director General FIEO Southern Region, to welcome our Chief Guest with a bouquet. Chief Guest, Mr. Subhash Chandra Agarwal, IRS, Additional DGFT from Headquarters. We welcome you, sir. I also request Mr. Unnikrishnan, Joint Director General, to give a bouquet, honor of Madam Rajalakshmi Devaraj, IDAS, Zonal Additional DGFT, Chennai. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Group Captain R. Vijay Kumar, Executive.
Shri Subhash Chandra Agarwal, Additional DGFT Headquarters, New Delhi. Madam Rajalakshmi Devaraj, Zonal Additional DGFT, Chennai. Mr. B.N. Bishwas, Joint DGFT, Chennai. Mr. Shri, Deputy DGFT, Chennai. Group Captain Vijay Kumarji, Executive Director MMA, all our participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a great pleasure to welcome all of you to this very important session on foreign trade policy. We have with us very distinguished and learned speakers today to address you on various aspects of foreign trade policy and its implementation as far as Foreign Trade Policy 2023 is concerned. Mr. Subhash Chandra is an IRS officer of 1994 batch, and he is expert in various subjects including foreign trade policy, SCOMAT items, so some of you are handling it, then fixation of norms, as well as trade facilitation, EDI, World Trade Organization, logistics, etc. Welcome, sir. I'm sure that his knowledge in the field definitely will help us to understand the subjects and why various policy measures being implemented or brought in the foreign trade policy. I also welcome Madam Rajalakshmi, who is instrumental in organizing this session today. She will be talking to us about and Mr. Shri, Deputy DGFT. As all of you are aware that despite of strong headwinds, our India's export performance has been, during the last financial year, has been highly impressive. On export of merchandise and as well as service exports is concerned, it has grown around 13.8% during last year to achieve a record $770 billion compared to last year's figure of 676, which is also an achievement. And India's these incredible strides in export performance were a result of well-crafted trade policy interventions, its efficacious implementation, and a host of other initiatives by the department to create conducive ecosystems, export facilitation measures, as well as various export promotion schemes, apart from implementation of roadmap schemes, interest subvention scheme, as well as PLI schemes for various sectors, major sectors within the economy, which all help us to grow to part of a growth story. And one other important aspect is, as far as India's export is concerned, is the logistics sector, which is a critical stumbling block as far as India's export competitiveness is concerned. Is also continuously addressing proactively with aim to integrate India in the global value chain. In this context, FTP's 2023 announced with a scope and of emerging challenges in the world economy is facing, and I'm sure that our speakers will be touching upon why these various aspects of policy has been implemented in this present context. As all of you are aware that DGFT organization, especially DGFT Chennai Zonal office is actively engaging state governments and for speedy and effective implementation of policy measures to promote exports. The government's initiative to push state governments in participation of export promotion and related activities has started showing results, and which is not only in the state level but also in the district level, which I mentioned. And recently signed FTAs, as you are aware, that with UAE as well as Australia is expected to help us in gaining substantial market share in the coming years, and there are a lot of other important FTAs being negotiated, especially with the UK, EU, Canada, etc., which I'm sure that is a game changer in facilitating India to be a dominant player in the global marketplace. We have the panelists, as I mentioned, who will be taking us through various policy measures and its implementation stage. One point I just want to mention here related to this FTP is that many of you are from status holders category. So for status holders of two and above, one policy, small policy measures which has been brought in is the initiative to help new entrepreneurs for the asking status holders to provide trade-related training. This, I'm sure, that will help us to build a skill manpower pool for capable of achieving 5 trillion economy by 2030. And what we request all the status holders is to please try to have some kind of training sessions and to encourage new entrepreneurs into exports. I'm sure that the DGFT may be coming with some models so that it will help us to help all the status holders to look at these aspects also. With this, I welcome all of you once again to this program. I'm sure that it will be very educative and informative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting up a tone for today's program. Now I request Group Captain R. Vijay Kumar, Executive Director MMA, to address the participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's indeed a proud moment for MMA. We are indeed privileged to really associate with FIEO and DGFT, and my sincere thanks to Rajalakshmi Madam and for choosing MMA to be, do this event here. MMA, you all know, it's over 66 years old organization. We have about 8,000 members, and we are 13 times the best management in India as awarded by the IMA Central. So we continue to do that, and we do almost 700 events in a year. So we act like a bridge between the source of knowledge and the people who love to hear and get the knowledge. That's why we choose to partner with FIEO and the DGFT. Asked, straight away we agreed that we must do this. And this event is also taken live to a large number of our viewers. We have members from all over Tamil Nadu, and large number of corporates are our members, our biggest exporters. So that we thought we take this live, and they will be able to watch. In case if some of you missed it, the live is also available in our social media portals later, immediately after the event is over. So many people can do, because this is a subject which we thought is very, very dear to our heart, very important. You know, all the foreign trade regulations of the year 1992 mandated this, because immediately after the Indian economy opened up, and where every year it should be called an EXIM, and they used to do the foreign exchange policy till the FTP was formed, foreign trade thing was formed to do the thing. So last two things are done. In 2020 is not done. Now it's been revised, and the foreign trade policy has come out with some outstanding features, which is under a very important feature, which I read very interesting, is they are not going to wait every 5 years to do revision. They are going to be doing the revision as and when is required. And they also got some 4 pillars. We have got experts who are going to be talking to you on this. And one main point which I really reached, why the government is doing this, is to take our export to $2 trillion by 2030. And that is the main objective of a lot of initiatives, a lot of ease of doing business, and we ought to be a manufacturing, because unless we be, as a management industry, we deal with large number of manufacturers, unless we have a biggest export and we strengthen our MSME, SME. We work quite a lot with these organizations to strengthen them, make them knowledge. This knowledge will be really, really helpful. And this is one of the reasons that 4 pillars would think is the collaboration. So we also wanted to collaborate and take this program live. And also all the people who are watching, visiting, some of you may be visiting for the first time MMA. It's a place where we are charitable educational organizations will be really happy to really share with you a lot of knowledge which is available in our library. And thanks so much once again, our chief guest Subhash Chandra Agarwal, who has come all the way from Delhi. We are eagerly listening, waiting to listen to you, sir, and also other dignitaries and especially Undi Krishnan and the team for all the support and making this event a grand success. And once again, thanks to Rajalakshmi Madam for choosing and doing this event. Thanks, and wish you a great morning and enriching morning.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to call Madam Rajalakshmi Devaraj, IDAS Zonal Additional DGFT, to give overview of exports from Tamil Nadu. Ma'am. Over to you, ma'am. You have to. India exports.
Shri Subhash Chandra Agarwal, IRS Additional DGFT, the chief guest for today, to inaugurate the first session for our zonal office for this financial year, especially in the event of this new FTP coming into force from 1st April 2023. Shri Krishnan, Joint Director General, FIEO, who has been very helpful in organizing this program at a very, very short notice. Group Captain Vijay Kumar, who I recently actually interacted with him, but I really liked the technology and all the infrastructure he has developed in this place, which actually can take this program to a larger audience. So I thank him also, and all the colleagues who have joined me today from my office, Vishwas, Rishikesh Reddy and Talapati, all of them who are the pillars to get these exports going and Tamil Nadu to become more stronger in exports, and all the exporters from Tamil Nadu who have joined us today. A very good morning to all of you. Namaskaram. I just want to set the context for today's program. I'm sure all of you are all involved in your exports, your thing. Where does Tamil Nadu stand in the overall picture of India's exports, and what are the products where you have the strength, where you are already doing well, and what are the markets where you are already going to, and which are the markets which are left untapped? And this is basically purely on databases. So there's a lot of numbers which you are going to see and graphs which you are going to see, so that you understand from a data perspective what it is showing. And all this data which has been collected is from DGCIS, Director General, who is the statistical department for Commerce Department who keeps this data. And a little bit of data has been taken from the trade map from the WTO thing with reference to other countries. That is why we have used the data of 21-22 to show you the trends, because though we have data of 22-23 for India, but with reference to other countries, to say where India stands or Tamil Nadu stands with reference to other countries, to know what your market, where do you stand, whether you can enlarge the market, whether you can penetrate it more. That is why we have used 21-22 to give the data of financial year 21-22 to give you a perspective of how the trends of data looks. Okay, so all the data which I'm putting up is for the last financial year, so that you will understand how does our export stand vis-a-vis the other countries to whom we are exporting, and in that import perspective of that country where we stand. Okay, so this is the context in which this whole presentation is being shown to you. So when we come to the export status of India, we have we have 31,47,000 crores, and out of which Tamil Nadu has only 8.37% of the exports. And if we look at what are the top 10 products which India is exporting, you have mineral oils, obviously refining of crude is, that's why it's 51%. Then you have pearls, precious gems, semistones, nuclear reactors, boilers, machinery. Then we have iron and steel, organic chemicals. So this is the order: electrical machinery, road vehicles, and pharmaceutical products, cereals, cotton. So these are the top 10 products India is exporting to other countries. Now when we look at Tamil Nadu, out of that top 10, there are 6 categories in which Tamil Nadu is also figuring in their top 10 exports. So which means out of the top 10 products of India, Tamil Nadu is already exporting 6 of those things, except apparels and made up and those footwear and rubber products. These are the 4 products where in Tamil Nadu's top 10 exports, these are the 4 products which are coming, which means these industries, they have to create their own ecosystem. They set the trend for India itself. Because then if you see in apparels, textiles and all, you are number 2 and number 1 and all in the state which is making number 1 exports in these categories out of India's exports also. So which means you are the trendsetters with reference to Tamil Nadu. For road vehicles and parts, you are number 1 for India as a state. And for apparels again, you are number 1 for the state. And for made up thing, you are number 2 for the state. So so in these places, Tamil Nadu will be setting the trend also, because you are the topmost in the thing. So this gives basically again in a graphical form where we are having maximum exports. Maximum exports is obviously from Kanchipuram district, and it is the largest district in exports also in Tamil Nadu. So that's road, automobiles and this thing. Now when we see from India, where this, now road vehicle parts from India, where to which countries we are exporting, you will find USA, Germany, all these countries are there. Okay. Here again, Tamil Nadu is number 2 in the overall. So you're following exactly the trend of India. But there's one small thing in the Indian thing, Germany is there, but Tamil Nadu does not figure at all in any sizable amount of exports, which means that is one country, though in India exports it is there, but Tamil Nadu, either we don't have the products which we are doing, or we need to look what the issue is, because it's not that there are no exports going from Tamil Nadu. If you go to the next right, because the channel for logistics is already there. In the next thing, if you see in apparel, Germany is there and Tamil Nadu is exporting to Germany, 10%. So, for road vehicles, there is one country in the top 10 thing where we are not matching. Tamil Nadu is not at all in the picture. So coming to apparel, because you're the first, so whatever the trend in India shows, the trend in Tamil Nadu is also the same. USA is the maximum for India and USA will be the maximum for Tamil Nadu. So it's exactly nearly the same, only a little small difference which is happening between the countries where overall India exports are going and where Tamil Nadu exports, which means for any new trends or any growth, I will come back to what are the markets which are available, even though we are doing apparel, where we stand in each of those countries' imports. Then you'll understand maybe we need to diversify our markets also. But we are following the same trend from India and Tamil Nadu. Now coming to the nuclear reactors, which is the third. Here again, because India and Tamil Nadu, we are in the same thing, we are nearly following the same pattern. Where India is exporting your thing, but there is one country again here. I think United Arab Emirates, where we don't go. No, we do go. Yeah. We have China. Turkey, France. Yeah, so we are just following the same trend here in the nuclear reactors thing. Coming to electrical machinery, here again we have, for India, USA is the biggest trading partner, but the second thing is United Arab Emirates. But for Tamil Nadu, it is not so. UAE does not figure at all in electrical machinery. Even if it figure, yeah. So which means, even though from India the products are going, Tamil Nadu doesn't have a channel here. And coming to made up textile products, here we are just following the same trend. India is maximum to USA, and from Tamil Nadu also it is maximum to USA, and all some small bits here. Footwear, this is not one of the major products for India, but for Tamil Nadu it is so. Okay. And again, in this product, we are covering quite a bit of, it's quite diversified here. With reference to other countries' import also, it is quite good in footwear. Now, we are talking about 2 FTAs which were started in the thing. Has Tamil Nadu taken real advantage of those FTAs? The data doesn't show. Though India has taken advantage, but as a state, we don't seem to have improved our positions because of the FTAs. Because that's why I was trying to show the export position with reference to India and export position with reference to Tamil Nadu. If you see, in many cases, Tamil Nadu is only 18, 21, and but from an Indian perspective, yes, these markets have been accessed, which means the free trade agreement with reference to this state, especially with Australia, though even India has not taken off completely. But one has to understand this is 21-22 data, and Australian FTA came into effect from 29th December of 22. So there are only 3 months of data for Australia, which is, but overall, with reference to UAE also, the data for that year doesn't show any thing. So which means as exporters, we'll have to look at whether something is, these FTAs, something is not helped us, or we have to improve on our knowledge of how these FTAs work. Now what I've done is I've looked at the import status of I've taken countries, top 10 countries to whom we are exporting against each product. Like for example, road vehicles, there were top 10 countries, but these are the 5 countries from the bottom, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And when I look at those countries because they are not concentrated, we have not concentrated those countries, we are still, the markets have to develop. Even in those countries, our position is only 12th, 11th and all that. So there's lot of scope in all these countries also, where we have to, because you see, once you've started exports, you know the channel of the logistics channel, everything is in thing. It's only that you have to see how we can leverage the thing. So even in those countries, if you look at each product, we are beyond the 10th. If you're not within the first 10, as a country, we don't have that leverage as a good trading partner also. So we are beyond 10. That's how the data is given. And these are our top 10 products of exports. So you have to understand, in our own strengths, we are beyond 10 in those countries. And this is, again, same, nuclear reactor and footwear I had taken. Here also, if you see, even in the niche countries where we are exporting, we are 10th or 12th or like that. So there's a lot of scope in these places also, where we are already exporting. And this is, again, only Tamil Nadu is in that, which means it's a core area for this thing. As a state, you have a strength in it, and it can be developed far more. So basically to set the context of, as exporters in Tamil Nadu, where we stand, how much of scope is available for us. And I'm sure we can all do well, far better than where we are. If we can understand a bit of data and concentrate on efforts, how do we cooperate among each other so that we go ahead in this thing. So that's my contribution today. I set the context today, and I wish all these exporters, we will handhold you, we'll help you in whatever way we can do from as a zonal office RA Chennai. But let us do well with the new FTP coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for highlighting the trend-setting products from Tamil Nadu and also the scopes and opportunity for Tamil Nadu products and internationally. Thank you so much. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Subhash Chandra Agarwal, IRS Additional DGFT from Headquarters to inaugurate the session, please. Over to you, sir.
Mrs. Rajalakshmi Devaraj, the Zonal EDGFT, Shri K. Unni Krishnan, Group Captain Vijay Kumar, my colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored to be here amongst you. And Mr. Unni Krishnan said that I am the expert on this. Let me just clarify that it's you who are the expert. There cannot be a bigger expert than the people who actually do the business. We are here from the organization basically to assist you to the extent possible, open the markets for you, and be with you in realization of our common goals of making India a more progressive country, taking it to the path of progress. Manufacturing, services, the domestic industries are very important towards that goal, but also exports. Exports are also very important, especially for two reasons. One, because we depend a lot on import, particularly for our energy security. We have to depend on imports, and for that the foreign exchange which is required comes from the export. The second one is that the exports give us the economy of scale. If we are producing something and we are producing it surplus, we can export it and we can build more efficiency, more cost effectiveness in our manufacturing, our services, our industries, whatever economic activities we do. So that's why the exports are very important, and I can assure you from the organization that the organization as well as the government both are very keen on in whatever way we can facilitate it. As you all know, the export growth and the total exports which happened last year has been historic. Good jump over the previous year, and also a very good number despite there's been lots of challenges. I'm pretty sure that USSR, Ukraine war, and the world generally having some recession, some banking industries failing, they will all have impact on your exports. Despite this, if we could go to that number of 770 billion, it's kudos to you, and I must congratulate you. So congratulations for having this kind of performance despite these kind of obstacles. We are very happy, of course, with these numbers, with the performance. But a little word of caution, if you drill down the numbers, two things come into the picture. One, part of it is in petroleum sector, where we have exported a lot. But that does not give us much economic benefits in terms of our exports baskets. So that diversification of exports is required, which is not happening to the extent possible, to the extent it should happen. The second one is still our lots of export is low value item and low value addition item. So we should also focus on how to do more value addition. And some progress is happening in that direction. Like our electronics export has just recently overtaken our garment exports. So slowly we are going up the value chain. We are having more high technology item, more items with the value addition. That's a good sign. Instead of yarn, we should send the fabrics. Instead of fabrics, we should send the garments. Up the value chain, the same volume will fetch us much bigger returns. And it will provide much more employment and economic activities within the country. Our GDP growth rate is, as of now, almost twice the average world growth rate. So there's a huge opportunity. If we have that kind of growth rate, part of it must reflect in exports also. So we have a great potential here. We have the huge, as we say, demographical dividends. And this is the time when we should go whole hog in actually capturing whatever we can capture. These windows do not stay for too long. There are lots of competitors, of course. I would just like to mention here briefly that, see, the new foreign trade policy, it's aligning more and more towards the international formats. We are making it more and more WTO compliant. And as you all know, that in WTO, any incentive is not actually allowed, it's not permitted. So we are moving foreign trade policy from incentives-based support to entitlement-based support. So it's no more incentives, it's more about reimbursement. Whatever taxes you have suffered, whether at a state level, at center level, at local level. So we are trying to reimburse that to make it WTO compliant. If you don't do that, the risk is that the importing country can put on the anti-dumping duty and what all duties, they can take us to WTO. And whatever benefits we give to you as such from the government, that all gets neutralized because that much more taxation is suffered in the importing countries. So it's better to build up the capacity and go more for the reimbursement rather than the incentives one. Till now, what has been happening is that we have been focusing on incentives and somewhere not focusing too much on reducing your cost of export. Like let's say the roads are not so good, then taking your goods to the port becomes costly. If the infrastructure is not so good, your cost of producing the goods increases. So now we are focusing more and more on building capacity buildings, both physical like infrastructure and all, and non-physical like let's say for example training, the soft skills, the soft infrastructure what we call. So there's lots of focus on that so that you will not get the direct cash incentives as such, but your overall total cost of production and cost of transportation becomes less. So that's where the focus is shifting slowly as per the foreign trade policy. So infra push, there's a huge push on infrastructure, both hard and soft, to reduce your cost. and make your goods globally competitive and profitable. Similarly, in our procedures, we are doing lots of streamlining and automation. Those who have been exporting for long, they must have seen this change both in the customs as well as in the DGFT. That now lots of things you can do right sitting in your office through the automation and virtual networks. You don't need to visit physically to any office, either it's custom or DGFT. I admit that lots more work needs to be done, and it's always work in progress, but the whole effort is towards that direction, that any interface with the government which you have to do, you should be able to do it from your office and in as painless ways as possible. So customs has implemented SWIFT, where now for any kind of compliance requirements, certification and all, you don't need to rush to too many agencies. Only on the IceGate portal itself, you can file your data, and then IceGate internally sends it to different agencies like FIEO or drugs agencies or plant quarantine and all. And they get the clearance also on the IceGate portal. For you, only one interface. You don't need to run too many interfaces like this. The similar kind of effort is also from Ministry of Commerce and DGFT, where we are trying to put as many interfaces on one portal, so that you have to put in data only once and you have to have only one interface, and that too virtual. There's lots of opportunities coming now, but see, we are there, but you will have to take benefit of those opportunities. You know how to take up benefits. Please get to us what we can do so that your opportunities are really materialized. For example, FTAs. Australia and UAE is done. EU, UK, Canada, they are in pipeline. Some templates you must be aware in what template they are going to be done. Now, if you can do some research, if you can put your heads together and find out proactively what are the opportunities which we are going to get through these FTAs, and then work on those directions, on those sectors where we are going to have maximum benefit, where we are going to have benefit vis-a-vis our competitors. If you can do it a little proactively, then we can have these markets much before our competitors go into these markets. You can also give us suggestions when we are negotiating with EU, UK and Canada, in what sector we can be a little more flexible, where we have a higher capacity. Even if we give the tariff concession to these countries, our domestic competitiveness will not fail. And in what sectors we should insist on concessions from them, where we don't have that kind of competitiveness, so that a tariff reduction actually helps us. Where we have the capacity but not the competitiveness. If you tell us, if you give us those suggestions, we can work on that. As of now, we are working more on the data, but the data don't tell all the story. They are basically indicators. So if you have any suggestions regarding this, it's most welcome. And it will help us in better negotiating with these countries, so that our exporters gain the maximum. Then I would like to just mention some emerging areas which have been reflected in trade policy, and which are the emerging areas where you may consider to put your efforts on. E-commerce, for one example, is very, very emerging areas. The export from India through e-commerce is roughly $5 billion. The e-commerce export from China through e-commerce is roughly $500 billion. So that kind of opportunity is there. Now, one, please tell us what kind of obstacles we are facing. Please tell us how we can make this whole e-commerce policy. As of now, it's only placeholder in the foreign trade policy. We will actually put the nuts and bolts and structures all. If you can get involved at this level and tell us it will help making a policy which will actually help you improving your exports through e-commerce. And there's a huge potential from 5 billion and our neighboring country doing 500 billion. The opportunities are immense. And like you all know, customs has ECCS, express cargo clearing systems, where the compliance burden is much less. The inspections are very less, examinations are less. So if you can get involved and work with us, probably we can make a policy which will be very exporter friendly, and low value items or low volume items just
Example, I would like to export e-commerce abroad and meet all kind of marketing. Going to the courier company, I have to pay 18% tax with foreign. When it is an export, why should the government tax even on courier company? This is one of the major things. I want, sorry for interpreting, I may forget because you are mentioning about the.
No, No, one, you are welcome. I would have ideally preferred, we have kept a Q&A session also. Ideally, probably that would have been better, because then everyone, we could discuss frankly. Nevertheless, see, this is the whole idea of interacting with you. If you really feel that sitting in an office and we can make a policy, or we will know all whatever good or bad you are facing in the field, that's not a proper expectation. These are the inputs which we come, then we find a way out how to mitigate them. And as you know, like it's a big thing. Like say, suppose you are saying GST, why 18% GST on courier company? I think that's what you are saying, right? Now let's say I completely agree with you. And I think that there should be no GST at all. Let us start with that premise. Fine. Now, how do I do it? How do I remove this 18% GST? I am convinced, let's say. I'll have to actually go to 3 dozen finance ministers, governments, the states and UTs, to convince them for this, build a consensus in GST Council for removal of this tax, including Tamil Nadu, of course. Now see, these are not easy. This will not happen in a day. What I can see a positive light is, all the governments, including the state governments, have got this sensitivity of export. Lot many governments, which earlier were basically focusing on domestic industries, they were almost oblivious to export potentials. Now they are doing the international conclaves. They are inviting investment, they are talking about trade. They have all set up their own committees and departments for export promotion, and all kind, different sectors, agriculture export promotion, or different export promotion. Yesterday when I was discussing with Zonal Addl here, she was telling she has already received queries from Tamil Nadu government. They feel that, okay, this sector we have the competitiveness, and we can plan ahead for more exports. So they are asking data. You give us data so that we can plan ahead. So all this happening, that sensitivity is there. I can assure you from me, I can assure you my commitment, like I am talking on behalf of DGFT, that we are very sensitive to any issues where we can work and we can have our exports improved, increased. E-commerce as such, if you see the new foreign trade policy, it's basically a placeholder. It says that we will work on exports through e-commerce, and we will put the whole structure. These kind of things, that because of the high taxation on courier, it's an inhibiting factor, we can work on that. But please come up with this. The whole point of this interaction is that you come up, you tell us in which direction we should work, what are the issues, how we can help. Not only the taxation, probably the courier industry itself is almost monopolized. International couriers are only 2-3. UPS, FedEx, I think 3-4 probably, DHL. Can we work on reducing the courier cost itself? Those kind of policy interventions, those kind of actual working we will be doing actually. Then see, individual exports, individual couriers, is that the most cost effective way? We can think of those. Why not have some hubs in different part of India where if it's not so time sensitive, e-commerce also doesn't need to be completely time sensitive. It's fine if, if the recipient doesn't mind whether it goes after 1 week or 10 days or 15 days or it goes tomorrow. In those kind of scenario, instead of one consignment like this, probably we can have hub. You send it to the hub and then hub consolidates it and exports it. Amazon follows this model. And then again, why monopoly of Amazon? Why not others? So gems we have, as of now, we have in government sector only. But there are, there are lots of working which is going on right now. Can we expand gems to work as a, kind of, as alternative to Amazon kind of thing or Flipkart kind of thing? Then ONDC is there. Can ONDC really become somewhere where it's almost no cost e-commerce to you? As of now, Amazon or Flipkart is charging a hell lot of money. So all this, yes, we are sensitive. We are working on that. But any input from you will help us even more. The other item, other area where I would like your attention is ISCOMET item. The spatial components and all. Chemicals are there, technologies are there. Now, I have interacted with some sectors and they feel that this process of applying for ISCOMET itself is very difficult and very tedious, long time consuming. And so, why to go into this? Like it takes on an average about 1.5 months. That's the average time of processing. The importers generally are not willing to wait for that long. So that's one item, one area where I would like you again to focus. One, we are streamlining the ISCOMET application and approval process itself to reduce the time as much as we can. But these are international obligations where we are signatories. If we are not signatories, we will not get these kind of technologies and items and all. So those control regimes we have to follow, we have to comply. So it will always take some time. But again, lots of liberalization has been done. Like you take only approval only once, and then that approval is valid for 3 years. You can do multiple exports and all. Those kind of things are coming. Then re-export has been liberalized. So further it's going on. One emerging areas again is drones technology. As of now, it's completely prohibited. You can't export any drone. Even toy drone you can't export as of now. It comes under ISCOMET list. Again, lots of consultation is going on. If we can liberalize a part of this one, instead of prohibited, can we put it on restricted list? And have the same thing that you take once your export approval, and then you can continue to export it. You don't need to come to us for every export you make. And Tamil Nadu particularly is very tech-savvy state. So probably you can think of in these emerging technologies. Drones will be one, where I'm just like telling you kind of advanced information that we are working on it, and hopefully some more liberalized policy will come. Definitely some of the drones, we will put them into the restricted category so that you will be able to export them. I have a complaint also. In DGFT, I also look after trade facilitation. And I receive lots of mails, which is just like, say, you may have an issue with customs or ice gate or customs port. But the mails are routinely marked to DGFT also. So I get almost 100 mails every day. At times, I'm only able to read the mails. I'm not able to do anything. My suggestion is, as DGFT, we are involved in any problem anywhere you face, yes. But if you think it's proper, first you take with the relevant agencies. If it doesn't work in a reasonable time, please do mark us. We will also take from with them, but not in the first go itself. If, like say, IceGate portal is not working and you are sending a mail to IceGate portal and you are sending to me, what should I actually do? I'll also forward it to IceGate portal. But maybe by the time I forward to them, they have restored it. Possible. Ultimately, it's IceGate which will do. If there's some problem at the customs port at a particular point of port, you have the escalation matrix there itself. You can meet or you can talk or interact with the assistant commissioner, deputy commissioner, then you can talk to commissioners. And generally, all of them now are very accessible. They have their public emails, they have their Twitter handles. So there are so many access channels. I would suggest that if it does not get resolved in a reasonable time, then do get us in. We will also. But to the extent possible, don't routinely email to us also. Just don't put it in CC on the first go itself. If the issue pertains to DGFT, yes, you please send it to us. But for everything, if you send, then probably somewhere where it's actually required and urgently required for me to intervene, that will come much lower in my email account. So if I get a little respite, the actual deserving ones, I can put more intervention. Okay? Then I just like to mention that we have the Amnesty Scheme. Recently it's been launched. Please just go through this, talk to your zonal ADG and take full benefit of it. If there's any concern, if there's any clarification required, if the policy requires some tweaking, we are open for that. But please apply and get it off your wherever you think that you are eligible, you can take the benefit. It's not good to keep some issues pending. Whether you pay or not pay is separate, but at least you will have a headache back of your mind. For a business, probably it makes more business sense to get out of this mundane kind of thing and actually focus on the markets and all. We have the statistics and all. Please use that. DGCIS is a good portal. And if you need any particular information about markets and all, we have the systems in place. We have the contact details in place. Please go out and conquer the world. Capture the world. We have the capacity. We have been doing it in the past. Somewhere in where we lost our entrepreneurship. But if you go back, actually India expanded a lot in East from Tamil Nadu. This was the seat of power in India. We can do it again. Why not? Thank you. I welcome all the suggestions and questions and answers. Very frankly, as frank as you can be. Please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the main aspects of Foreign Trade Policy 2023. Now, I would like to call upon Mr. B.N. Vishwas, ITS Joint DGFT Chennai, for giving a presentation on changes incorporated in Foreign Trade Policy. Over to you, sir.
Good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais, my colleagues, and the distinguished exporters. I will be highlighting the key changes in the new Foreign Trade Policy 2023. Before coming to the key changes, I will just, Sir has already given you an overview on how the direction of the foreign trade policy has changed. In the sense, there's a deviation or a slight variation from the earlier foreign trade policies. This new foreign trade policy does not have an end date, and it will be more dynamic and responsive to the needs of the exporters. As and when required, and according to the needs of the trade and industry, the foreign trade policy will be amended and updated. Also, as Sir pointed out, we are moving from an incentive regime to a remission or entitlement-based regime. As you know, some of the popular schemes like MEIS and SCIS were not WTO compatible. If we had continued with these schemes, there was a threat that India would have been dragged to the WTO and it would have been countervailed. So whatever benefits which was given by the government would have been nullified. So we have moved to a entitlement-based regime where one of the principles of the world trade is goods should be exported, taxes and duties should not be exported. So whatever duties and taxes suffered by the exporters are given back or neutralized in the first instance. Based on that, there are various schemes, right from RODTAPE and ROSCTL, duty drawback. These schemes notified by the Department of Commerce, but it is administered by the Customs Department. Along with that, we also have popular schemes such as advance authorization and EPCG. These popular schemes of advance authorization and EPCG will be continued, but there has been a substantial procedural tweaking so that there is a more ease of doing business and the cost of transaction is reduced. Along with that, there has been more and more focus on using the technology in order to increase the ease of doing business. There are various IT initiatives done by the DGFT, which I will highlight later on. Also, as you can see, compared to the previous foreign trade policy, what are the changes in the new foreign trade policy? In the chapters itself, an incentive chapter has been taken out, and the focus is more on the emerging areas which have high export potential. One is a district as an export hub, has a high export potential, and also e-commerce has been added as a chapter in for foreign trade policy. And Sir has pointed out that there's a huge potential for increasing the e-commerce exports. It is expected that by 2030, the e-commerce exports from India will reach around $200 to $300 billion. And also, this SCOMET, that is abbreviation for special chemicals, organisms, materials, and equipment and technologies. The exports of SCOMET items has been steadily increasing from India. Also, a National Committee on Trade Facilitation has been constituted to formulate Trade Facilitation Action Plan. India is a member of the Trade Facilitation Agreement, where commitments are given to increase increase the speed of clearances and release of the goods and movement of the goods. For this, Department of Commerce is working with Customs to formulate Trade Facilitation Action Plan for the year 2023 to 2026. Also, a lot of Niryat Bandhu programs will be conducted going forward, especially to facilitate the new first-time exporters and also the existing exporters, so that the various incentive schemes available with the government are explained to them, and also the various regulations and the changes which are brought are explained to the exporters so that they can make an informed choice. This Niryat Bandhu program will be held with the collaboration of the various export promotion councils and knowledge partners from the industry. So, as I said, there are various IT initiatives taken by the DGFT in order to reduce the cost of transaction and also to increase the ease of doing business. Instead of waiting for the new foreign trade policy to roll out, some of these schemes are already in existence, especially the e-certificate of origin. The e-certificate of origin is issued online, where all the stakeholders have been onboarded on a DGFT e-platform. This will supplement our efforts in the FTA negotiation. Our FTA negotiation efforts will be supplemented by issuance of preferential and non-preferential certificate of origins. Till date, almost 18 lakh e-certificate of origins have been issued through this platform. Also, the Export Promotion Councils issues this registration cum membership certificate, RCMC. Now, this RCMC is also being issued online on a e-platform developed by DGFT. Also, the IEC generation has been made completely online. You can obtain an IEC within 24 hours, provided you provide the proper details. There is absolutely no human interface, and the system compares the details provided by the IEC applicant with the details available in the CBIC, CBDT for the PAN, and Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and also PFMS for the bank details. Also, the DGFT system interacts with EDPMS developed by the RBI, where the realization against exports is automatically transferred to the DGFT systems. Also, there is a trade facilitation app where exporters and importers can download that app, and various changes which are coming in the policy or procedures will be updated or notified to them so that they can make an informed choice. Also, there is a authorized economic operator certificate which is being issued by the Customs Department. If you obtain this authorized economic operator certificate, basically there are various benefits, that is priority clearance in customs and self-assessment, and also wherever we have a mutual recognition agreement, even in the countries of export, the movement of goods will be much easier. We have a mutual recognition agreement with South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and USA for these authorized economic operators. Coming to the status house certificates. Status house certificates are recognitions granted to the exporters who achieve a minimum threshold of exports. In the new foreign trade policy, the threshold of exports required for getting the status house certificates has been reduced vastly. So, as you can see earlier, for a 5-star status house certificate, you required almost $2 billion of export over the past 3 years. Now that has been brought down significantly to around $800 million. This will enable more number of exporters to get this status house certificate, and this will help them in obtaining a brand and recognition. Along with this brand recognition, there are various privileges for the status holders, like priority clearance in the customs, and also self-assessment, self-sealing at the factory. And also going forward, they are trying for a self-certified certificate of origin. As you know, now certificate of origins is being issued by certain agencies. and this also has a bit of a time lag. Going forward, these status house certificate holders will be having a self-certification for certificate of origin. No, it's not on net foreign exchange. It is based on the total foreign exchange, and over a period of 3 years. Over a period of 3 years. Also, one of the important policy which has been added is on the merchanting trade. Even though there is already guidelines on merchanting trade, merchanting trade is nothing but where an Indian exporter or intermediary gets a export order and he buys the goods from second country and exports to the third country without touching the shores of India. For that, basically, there is already RBI guidelines. However, what this foreign trade policy has done is, it has made it clear that while doing a merchanting trade, you can even export the restricted and prohibited goods, except for SCOMET items and CITES items, that is trade in endangered species. Barring these two, you can also export restricted items, because we already had certain questions when there was a restriction on the exports of onions because of the domestic shortages. If a merchant trader wants to export from a second country to third country, why it should be stopped? And the bankers were reluctant because there was no clear-cut policy for merchanting trade on the restricted and prohibited goods. Also, as I said, going forward, this status holders will be given, will be recognized as approved exporters for having a self-certification for certificate of origin. However, for this to come in force, this specific clause has to be incorporated in the free trade agreements and has to be notified by the DGFT. Then only this self-certificate of origin will come. Already we have this self-certification for exports to European Union whenever they have obtained a REX registration. Also, this policy makes it clear that rupee payment will be accepted under the FTP schemes. For the various benefits under the FTP, rupee payment will be accepted if the realization or the trade settlement has happened as per the RBI circular. They will be available for all the benefits under the FTP. Also, one of the initiatives which has been taken by the DGFT is for developing the district as export hubs. As Sir had already pointed out earlier, it was treated that export promotion is the function of the central government. But now it is more of a collaborative effort. It is a collaborative effort between the central government, state government, and also the district administration. Many exporters will be facing various challenges at the district level. So an institutional mechanism has been put in place where a district export promotion committee will be constituted under the chairmanship of the collector, and an officer from the regional authority of DGFT will be a co-chairman. The major task of this committee will be to find out the focus sectors or the potential sectors from the district. And also, along with identifying these potential sectors, they have to identify the various challenges faced by the exporters at the ground level. The challenges might be infrastructural or procedural. After identifying these problems, these are documented, and basically the various departments which are responsible for addressing these challenges has to be flagged. Along with that, basically going forward, it is believed that there will be a fund for development of common export infrastructure like a testing facility, whatever is unique to that district. Also, there will be more and more Niryat Bandhu schemes where there will be an information dissemination on the exporters. That information dissemination may be general or it might be certain sector specific, like e-commerce exports. Since it is a huge potential session on e-commerce exporters, especially for the new exporters and artisans, will be helpful. Collector will be the chairman and the officer from the regional authority will be the... Huh? There won't be a separate office for this. But basically already the district, in the district industry centers, the general managers of the district industry centers, they have been made as nodal officers for any export related information. It will be the development commissioner. No, see, basically, this whatever export activity is a collaborative effort of various departments. It is not done by a single department. Especially for there will be various industries, trade bodies, industry associations. They will be giving certain feedbacks. So many of these feedbacks are incorporated in the policy. And also there are certain schemes administered by the department themselves for the export promotion. As I already said, some of the export promotion schemes are like remission schemes are even though it is notified by the Department of Commerce, it is administered by the Department of Revenue, by the Customs.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So, as I said, this WTO compatible schemes of advance authorization and EPCG is being continued. But there has been certain major procedural changes. So for the MSMEs, the application fee for the advance authorization and EPCG has been vastly reduced. The application fee, which was almost around maximum of 1 lakh for the MSME, has been reduced to a maximum of rupees 5,000. It is seen that majority of the users of these schemes, almost 55 to 60% of the users of the scheme are from MSMEs. So it is expected to help them vastly. Along with that, there has been more and more progress towards automation and online issuance of licenses. Already you know that especially who are already exporters and who are obtaining authorizations, that issuance of advance authorization and EPCG has been made completely online, and also it is completely paperless. However, some of the processes like revalidation and EO extension, it was taking from 3 days to almost 1 month. Going forward, these processes will also be automated. Already a pilot program is running on these processes. Going forward, once the pilot program is successful, it will be rolled out for all the exporters. Also, in this step, they have reduced the revalidation fees and EO extension fees vastly. Earlier, it was a certain percentage of the unfulfilled export obligation. Say, for example, if you have obtained an advance authorization of CF value of 10 crores and you could fulfill only 50% of the export obligation, just to get a EO extension, you had to pay 2% of the unfulfilled export obligation value, which amounted to almost 10 lakh to 20 lakh. Now it has been made a flat fee of 10,000 to 20,000 rupees. This will greatly reduce the burden on the exporters and will also help in automation of these processes. Also, they have already we are issuing advance authorization redemptions, that is export obligation discharge certificates online, and also the going forward, this EODC process for both advance authorization and EPCG will be made completely paperless and will be issued online. And so some of the procedural tweaking, basically this special advance authorization has been made available for apparel exporters on a self-declaration basis. Earlier, it was available, but it was only on the based on the prior fixation of norms. But as you know, in the fashion industry, the exporters will have to be very quick, and the time is of valuable essence. They will have to commit to the exports within the short time frame. So accordingly, based on their self-declaration, they can take the license, and the norms will be fixed within 90 days later. Coming to the EPCG scheme, basically there is a PM Mitra scheme, that is Prime Minister Mega Integrated Textile Region and Apparel Park. There are 7 apparel parks like this thing are proposed to be established. Tamil Nadu is one of the states which has been selected for PM Mitra scheme. So the common service providers in PM Mitra scheme will also be eligible for EPCG. Also, as I said, there is a lot of procedural simplifications. The composition fee for the export obligation extension in the EPCG has been vastly reduced, and certain new products, these green technology product manufacturers have been included in the EPCG, like LED manufacturers, battery electric vehicles, the vertical farming equipment manufacturers, rain harvesting system and rainwater filters manufacturers. They will be having a reduced export obligation under EPCG. Whereas a normal exporter under the EPCG will have to fulfill an export obligation of almost 6 times the duty saved value. Under reduced export obligation, they will have to do almost only 75% of the actual export obligation, that is 4.5 times the duty saved value. Also, as I said, there's a thrust towards promoting the e-commerce exports. For that, the value limit for the exports through courier service has increased from 5 lakh to 10 lakh rupees per consignment. Earlier, there was a value cap per consignment of 5 lakh rupees. It has been enhanced to 10 lakh rupees. Going forward, in discussion with the e-commerce players, this value cap might be increased or might be done away with. And also for e-commerce exports, whatever benefits are being given for the regular exporters, the same will be extended to the e-commerce exporters. And as I said, this e-commerce exports has a huge potential, but there's a need for training to bring more people on how to register on an e-commerce platform, how to use the e-commerce logistics provider. That training has to be given. In a Niryat Bandhu scheme, this will be one of the sector-based themes based on which the training will be given, so that even small artisans or individual exporters will be able to take benefit of this e-commerce exports. Also, while doing e-commerce exports, apart from using private courier agencies, they can also use the India Post for the foreign post offices. The Dak Nagar Niryat Kendras basically exports through parcels of the India Post is available in only foreign post offices, which are located in certain ports itself. However, to enable the artisans and craftsmen and MSMEs from the interland, there will be Dak Niryat Kendras, which will operate on a hub and spoke model, so that they need not travel all the way only to the foreign post offices to get their goods cleared. Also, as Sir had pointed out, this is a work in progress. Only the broad contours has been given. One of the proposal is to establish e-commerce export hubs. Under the e-commerce export hubs, it is proposed to be established with the public-private partnership, where warehouses will be established, where the e-commerce aggregators in the warehouses, they can do the last mile operations like sorting, packing, labeling, and there will be a good logistics provided for improving the logistics facility. Also, in this policy, the thrust is more on the new emerging areas, and SCOMET is one of them. These items are SCOMET items are dual use items. They have a civilian use and have the potential for the military use also. So, India is a signatory to various conventions or various export control regimes like Wassenaar Group, Australia Group, and Missile Control Technology Regime Group. So, it has to have a strong export control regime in order to have access to high-end technologies. If we do not have a proper control regime, we will not be having access to high-end technologies also, because SCOMET items doesn't mean only we export. Basically, there are many SCOMET items being imported also. So, as sir pointed out, going forward, there will be a policy on the UAV drones and cryogenic tanks. And one of the issues is many people are not aware of what are dual use items. Say, for example, cryogenic tank or the oxygen tank. It has uses in basically hospitals and other civilian uses. But the same cryogenic tank can be used as a equipment in the rockets or missiles. So there is a need for increasing the awareness on these SCOMET items so that they do not get into the wrong side of law. And these SCOMET items are handled, issuance and amendments are handled by the DGFT headquarters. So we will be also holding this under the Niryat Bandro program. We will be holding a specific theme-based training on SCOMET issues also. Thank you for your patient hearing. And one of the major announcement is on the amnesty scheme, which my colleague will be handling. After this amnesty scheme, we will be taking the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving updation of this chapter-wise policies, provisions you have updated in a very simple manner. Thank you so much, sir. And I would like to call upon Mr. K. Hrishikesh Reddy, ITS Deputy DGFT, to give a presentation on amnesty schemes. Over to you, sir.
Which one, sir? This one. This one. Okay. Respected honorable dignitaries on the dais and their entrepreneurs and the representatives of many of the firms, I welcome you all. Now, before going further, I would first into nitty-gritties of this amnesty scheme. I will tell you the context and the importance of this amnesty scheme so that you can appreciate it better. What essentially this amnesty scheme does is, if you had taken certain licenses earlier from DGFT, whether EPCG or advance authorization, and you are unable to fulfill the export obligation, then this scheme provides a relief to those firms who are unable to fulfill because of various business risks. This scheme has to be appreciated on two accounts. The first account is any business, whenever you take, it comes with lot of hidden risks. The risk can be of any nature. For example, when COVID came, nobody expected. That is a risk. If you have an export order in Ukraine, you would not be able to fulfill the export obligation now. Or that is a political risk. For example, in 2010, thinking that you might have made a big investment in a book manufacturing company, but now because of advent of technology, books have become less important. That is a technological risk. So, entrepreneurs can understand any business venture or any order itself, it will have hidden risks. Just now I was talking to one of the company people. They are in the business of agrochemical. Now they are facing something called climate risk. The El Nino is coming, so they are worried about that thing. These are not in your hands. So when these risks come, which are beyond your hand, you will not be able to fulfill the export obligation. So for these people who are genuine business people, this scheme allows you a relief and a way out. And this is one of the few schemes, because if you see the incentive schemes and other thing, even if they don't exist, you would be already factoring into the costs. But this risk and all, you can never factor into your business models. So this is one of the few schemes, not just by DGFT, but in the entire government machinery, where your risk element is being addressed and the safe way mechanism out is provided. Safe way out. Now, I will go into the details of this scheme. Who are applicable? If any of you have taken advance authorizations or EPCG licenses under 2009-14 policy till 30/3/2015, you are unable to fulfill export obligation, or you have fulfilled only a partial amount, all of such people, you are eligible. And even if the licenses are issued in the previous foreign trade policy, but your export obligation is valid beyond 12/8/2013, then also those firms who are unable to fulfill your export obligation for this said licenses can avail this amnesty scheme. Why the date 12/8/2013 is given is because similar scheme has been formulated roughly 10 years back. So after a gap of 10 years, government has announced this scheme. So I request all the people to take maximum advantage of it, and you can convince your other entrepreneur friends also to take advantage of this scheme. Even if your cases have been adjudicated because of non-fulfillment export obligation, even for those people, this amnesty scheme is applicable and it offers a safe way out. Now, what this amnesty scheme roughly tells, whenever you are taking an advance authorization or an EPCG, you will be importing goods by taking duty exemption. What it says is, you pay duty, and normally you have to pay entire duty with interest. Interest is roughly 15% or 18% based upon the year of import. So what it says is, interest also, entire duty you pay, and the interest portion will be limited only to the certain component of the customs duty. It is not applicable to additional customs duty and special additional customs duty. I am going to give an example at the end of the slideshow how it is going to be done. Even if you have made a partial fulfillment, say you have fulfilled 50% export obligation, then you can avail this amnesty scheme and pay your duty and interest portion for the balance 50%. 50%. How to avail it? This amnesty scheme is a one-time settlement, so it won't be here forever. So I urge you to make haste and avail it. You must have to register with DGFT. In DGFT portal, you have to go, you have to apply under closure of those whatever advance and EPCG licenses you have taken, and you have to select the amnesty scheme option. This exercise must be done before 30/6/2023. That is, you now have only roughly 2 months. And after filing disclosure and selecting the checkbox, we will inform you. Say if you have done 100%, then no problem. If there is a default of 100%, but if you have made a partial fulfillment, you have to submit the corroborative evidence. Then we will tell you what is the corresponding shortfall, and you need to pay the entire duty amount to the customs authority by 13/9/2023. So the registration must be completed by June end, and by September ending, the payment of the duty portion must be completed. Now I am going to the rough example. Suppose X some firm has procured a capital good worth ₹100, and it attracts a basic customs duty of 7.5% and other duties like countervailing duty and special additional customs duty worth 20%, and he imports it under EPCG scheme. Now, for his ₹100, the basic customs duty portion is ₹7.5. The countervailing duty and other special additional customs duty may be ₹20. So the total duty incidence is ₹27.5. This is the benefit a licensee holder or the firm must have taken in 2010, that is 13 years back. Now, under this amnesty scheme, what it says is you have to pay the total 27.5, and the interest portion is capped to the 100% of the BCD part. What exactly says is BCD part, that is 7.5. So 27.5 plus 7.5. Now just imagine this is just an example. If there are anti-dumping duties and other duties, those are a different aspect. But you will be paying ₹35 now. You have taken benefit of ₹27.5 in 2010. After a gap of 13 years, you are now paying government ₹35. Even if you have deposited that 27.5 in a bank, it would have tripled your amount at a 6% interest rate or 10% interest rate. So this is the amount of benefit you will be availing if you take advantage of this amnesty scheme. The interest portion is also not that much if you see the incidence. So it is a very safe way out for those of the people who are unable to fulfill your export obligation. You may be able to, because of various things, your orders may be cancelled or global weakness may be there and other risks. So this is one of your obligation, in the sense even if you don't fulfill obligation, you are not penalized much. That is what I am going to tell you. Now, I am telling the other aspects of this amnesty scheme. It is not applicable. This amnesty scheme was primarily intended for business failures, business risks. It is not intended for people who are doing fraud or who are diverting. So some other criminal intent, you understand what it is. So it is so whenever if such you are not being investigated or if such things are not there, you can avail this. Second thing is, at the time in 2015 and all, central excise used to be there. So since you are paying the duty forgone at that time, though you may pay for it, CENVAT credit or refund is not applicable for the corresponding countervailing duty you have paid at that time. And if you had already paid duty with interest, this scheme is not applicable. That is one thing because some people may have already paid entire duty with interest, that is, it may have to have become twice or thrice. So you cannot come again to the government for refund, claiming under this amnesty scheme. So these are the three important aspects. So I request everybody who are unable to fulfill or who are having their long pending licenses, who are unable to fulfill their export obligation, to take advantage of this scheme, because the pain, in the sense the maximum amount you have to pay is also not that much vis-a-vis the actual benefit that was availed. Okay. Now I will go into the rough online procedure aspect on how it comes, the procedural aspect. For availing this amnesty scheme, I have told you that you have to first register with DGFT. So you have to visit our website dgft.gov.in. Then you have to go log in. You have to log in with your credentials, with your IEC. Then you have to select services. I am taking advanced authorization here example. For EPCG also it is similar. You click upon it. Then you select this closure of advanced authorization button. Then you create a fresh application, or if you start a fresh application, you type the authorization. If you see under my authorization tab, there is a column. Are you applying under amnesty scheme for one-time settlement of default in export obligation? That you have to select the checkbox. And the rest of the procedure is just like the regular closure of authorization. Then save and proceed. Then if you have done a partial fulfillment of export obligation, you have to give the export details. If it is not done, you have not done any exports 100%. So if any exports are there, you have to mention shipping bill number, BRCs, etc. Then the input details, what you have actually imported, the corresponding amount. Those details have to be filled. Then there will be something called redemption matrix. There, you have to enter what you calculate first, how much shortfall you are calculating. We will be validating, once you submit the application, we will be validating it. Whether the shortfall you have calculated is, say, you might have thought your shortfall is only 30%. But after further calculations, we may think that the shortfall is not 30%, maybe 33%. So, as a thing, first you just fulfill your own calculation sheet, how much you have to regularize the details you fill. Then you attach all the corroborative evidences. And then you have to submit. Then we will process it. We will tell you the corresponding shortfall, how much shortfall is there. Based upon that, you have to go to the customs authorities and pay the corresponding duty amount by September 39, so that you can avail this benefit. So you can track the status once you have submitted the application. It will say in process, and once you receive a communication, you will receive the. You can find when you log in into this, you can find it in the portal. So this is the rough procedure aspect, and these are the broad contours of the amnesty scheme. If you have any doubts, you can contact the zonal office. We are ready to help you in any aspect. But I request you, and you also educate all of your other friends in the industries to take maximum advantage of this amnesty scheme. Thank you.
Thank you so much for explaining the amnesty scheme, sir. We hope that exporter will definitely take the advantage of the scheme. Thanks a lot. And now the forum is open for question answer session.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, actually, we have applied for under advance authorization scheme for import of granite blocks from South Africa. It's coming under restricted category. We applied in 2021, sir, but still no, it's pending under for approval, sir. Yeah. Because we were told it's under PRC committee, but we got lot of orders for the export, sir, but still, since it is pending, we can't able to proceed further on this. So if you can help us with this.
Two things. One, if it is restricted, then I am not sure how it comes under PRC. So that's.
We were informed in the portal, sir.
Excuse me, it is not coming under norms. It is not coming under norms, it is coming under no norms. So we have approached PRC for policy relaxation for imports. So still it is under pending because we are manufacturers of monuments, granites, and lot of new colors are available in the foreign markets. Customers are asking for those colors. If we get those colors, we can export more. That's what we are expecting.
Please tell me again, what's the problem? Like the item you want to export is under restricted.
No, import.
Import, sir. We want to import.
So new colors are available in the African market like that, which are not available in India.
See, in headquarters, I basically look after export policies. If your query is regarding import, what I would suggest, if you can give it to me or you can email to me, either
Yes,
way.
sir. Yeah.
Then I will look it up with the concerned branch which is dealing with it. And definitely I'll get back to you. Offhand, it will be difficult for me to tell because when I'm little new in DGFT and I'm not looking after them.
Okay, sir. Fine,
But
sir.
definitely it's DGFT headquarters is a small unit. It's not too big. So I'll have to go across to my colleague and ask about it.
Fine, sir. If you can help us out, it will be very good. Thank you, sir.
Sir, my name is Thambi Durai. I've been exporting over 40 years and I have a lot of suggestions for DGFT, which is the pioneer in making digital in the government department in India. It was called Controller of Imports and Export earlier days, but really it never worked as a controller even those days. It was facilitator. Then they thought it fit to change the name as a facilitator and change the name to DGFT. Everything is going fine until the software people stepped into your DGFT office. Everything is in haywire. As far as the portal you have created very recently is causing havoc to exporters. And we are not able to speak to anybody. I have sent many mails to whatever addresses I can gather on the portal, but nothing happened. Simple thing is status holder certificate. its navigation also is not that easy. I feel DGFT should ask some people who are really working on that in a good way to get a feedback and change it. It's not easy, but still we manage and go there, download the certificate. Already, it shows very clearly whatever the certificates we have got over the years, whatever EPCG. I have got 4 EPCG, all EO cleared, everything. I could get all the details. This status holder certificate, only when I download the certificate, it downloads as certificate. And I try to open in any kind of platform, it doesn't open, it says it's not a valid PDF file. I have sent this even to Mayavadi in Chennai office also, I have attached it and sent. So I lost one certificate during Mr. Segar as the DGFT. I remembered I applied in 2014, it was valid up to 2019. Then I asked several times by mail to DGFT Chennai office also, I couldn't get, then I sent a manually and got one certificate which expired in 2019. Then I applied again for a renewal. And I went through the rigmarole of submitting all that chartered accountant certificate. It doesn't come free. My chartered accountant, I don't know, charges more than 10,000 rupees for each certificate. They wanted 3 years individual certificate listing out all the shipping bill, everything. I gave. Finally, I got a reply stating your certificate is valid up to 23. So we cannot renew. You apply in 23, but I don't have a certificate like that, and I couldn't download also. This mistake you have to correct it, 1 point. Second, you must also think of doing away with the RCMC, even status holder certificate, which are all formulated during the non-digital era, when DGFT doesn't know who is exporting, what are the data they have. Now everything is available with the DGFT. You have BRC, you have the shipping bill transmitted, everything is with you. Even you put my IE code number, it will give you all these things. Why should I apply for a status holder certificate? This is only required when I come to you for something. If I come to you for EPCG, advanced authorization, anything, you look at those things. Nowhere else it has a respect. I have a AUO certificate, it has no respect at all. Anywhere. I don't know about the foreign countries. Maybe I asked my Korean importer to try showing my certificate, but in Chennai it doesn't work. But fortunately, we have got a very good software provider for IceGate. IceGate is doing wonders now. Earlier, CHAs used to cheat us by saying that your bill is not cleared, but already you would have cleared, stuffing will be going on. Then I became 15 years back myself a self-clearing CHA, so that I don't have to run with these people. I was suggesting to IceGate to send a copy of the shipping bill to the exporters. Then they will know. I have lost a lot of drawback when I was filing through CHA. I am telling this to the exporters to knowledge. Now they will be getting the shipping bill. The moment you get a shipping bill on your email, check whether RODTP amount has been cleared, drawback has been filed properly. This is happening now. Fantastic work is happening. Earlier, like DGFT, we have to come log into the portal. You are sending one SMS and one mail saying one discrepancy has been found in my application. That's all. But IceGate is far better. They attach that PDF. DGFT also should do that. It's an easy coding only. I have to log in and navigate, find out action, then finding out it's very difficult. You can ask them to, it's a simple thing. One day job, you can solve all these problems. Let DGFT also consider why should we have RCMC? I'm a small MSCME exporter. I'm coming to export something. I have an IE code and IE code again. You want us to, since you have paid for a software provider to charge more and more, you are making us renew every year IE code. What is the use? Why should we? You make one question. Ask a question yourself. Why should I do? The another problem created is the recently IES, Interest Equalization Scheme. You made a circular stating that every transaction. Then I pointed out to Mr. Sahai, but for FIEO, we'll have a lot of problems. They are doing a wonderful job. Immediately he came to DGFT and you gave a clarification. This is all, but I'm really laughing out loudly whenever I get a notification by the government which starts like this. forward. In view of the ease of doing business and ease of compliance, we formulate this. What? IS code, IS DIN, you get everything and give it to the bank. It was happening very simply. Earlier is when we are getting 5%, it is reduced to 3% now, but we have to go through so many things. We forget, we lose that. These are what I call as NTBs. NTB is another one, Export Promotion Council. These were formulated by the government to represent the small exporters, voiceless people to the government with their problem. But they themselves have accepted FIEO, sorry sir, they themselves have become a big problem to exporters. For example, is Capexil. They represented to EP section in Ministry of Commerce from 2013 to 2016, and forced you to issue a notification 34 of 2017, which mandated them to become a competent authority. How can my fellow exporters, 5 people managing one export promotion council, can become an authority, competent authority, control the trade? What they do? The man, he immediately appointed his nephew, the relative, as a software provider for Capexil. For what? To get all the knowledge immediate knowledge before the export happens, to get whatever the other exporters are exporting. In that notification, DGFT made a compulsory mandatory thing for export to EU. We must get a shipment clearance certificate from Capexil. What is that? It's nothing. Nobody wants it. Only Indian government wants it. And Capexil wrote to all the customs, visited them personally and ensured that we produce that certificate. So I get a certificate. I show to the customs to clear the shipment. After that, I tear it off. But your policy says after the shipment is made, I must take all my invoice, all the details, go to Capexil, get again another certificate, countersigned by the animal quarantine. It is not at all valid. Nobody does it. I have written about this, but nothing is happening. Sir, export promotion councils, abolish. You have all the digital data available with the DGFT because you have DGICS in Calcutta, from where you will get all the information. And RCMC, can you give me one valid reason government wants this RCMC? What is the RCMC? It was required older days. When digital era was not happening, DGFT doesn't know what is happening. So you formulated different EPCs and made us to go join. I am a member of many EPCs. And EPCs, except marine product EMPEDA, nobody can be an authority. This is a very important thing. Please consider. If you want, I am prepared to come to Delhi, meet all your technical team and spend on my own money for the benefit of the exporters. Sir, I am telling you, you are happy that you are having a growth in export. But consider this, a person who gets 72% mark percentage should never be happy. Why he has not got 95%? That's how it should be. India is blessed with the very big natural resource. The biggest Indian population, the intelligent people in the world is Indians. Do you know that? Can you make a single Japanese to take a decision? Japanese are very clever with collective decision. And Chinese are good with a lot of people jointly working. Indians are individually intellectual. They are not allowed to do. My suppliers, 36 years back, the uneducated people were suppliers. Now, those people, more than 30, 40 people, their children after studying, using mobile phone, they became exporters. And they are having problem. They are calling me, Durai Saab, मेरा कस्टम्स रुक रहे हैं, ये बोल रहे हैं EU, खाली EU का एनिमल प्रोडक्ट्स एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं, पॉलिसी में है, मैं चाइना का एक्सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. He is telling me like that. Then I told him, tell the officer, the Capexil certificate and registration RCMC is for only export to EU. And for Japan, Korea, everywhere it is freely allowed. But the word has an ambiguity, so they are Why should this all happens? How export will grow? Export should have grown maybe 100% in next year. Think like that. Find out all the NTPs. People like me, I am prepared to give you all the info because India has a lot of potential to export. But otherwise, I'll tell DGFT is giving all the things. Only the software is giving problem for you. Where all the problem, I can list out, I can take a screenshot, give it to you. But please do something. I have been doing this for a long time. But not. Yes, sir? Yeah, enough for me, sir.
See, first, thank you. Thank you for bringing this to my notice and also to others so that everyone benefits. As far as systems is concerned, let me tell you, I head the system. So I am responsible. Any improvement which is required, I am responsible for that. Any problem of the system, I am responsible for that. Right? I am the one. Like for import, I said, no, I don't deal with it. Unlike that, as far as systems is concerned, it's my baby. So your inputs will be very helpful. No, please do that. Please do. Also send me an email. This is something I would actually like to work on. Let me just say, the systems are not perfect. Actually, no system is perfect. You just talked about IceGate. I am very happy that you have some good words for IceGate. Before coming to DGFT, I am like my parent department is customs. So I was working in customs, and in customs also a few years back I was working in customs systems. I was sitting in Delhi Samrat. I was part of the Directorate General of Systems, which deals with IceGate, ICS, and all this. So I'm very happy that at least you have some words, some good words for IceGate. My aim will be to hear the similar good words from you for DGFT system. That will be my target. But see, all the progress are incremental. During your talk, you were saying that it's just one day work. No, sir, it's not one day. Like say, once you try to develop a system, it always develops in too many different modules, and those modules are interconnected. As your system grows, the number of modules and the number of connections between them, they grow exponentially. Between two modules, there is only one interconnect. But as soon as you go from 2 to 3, the interconnect becomes 3. It's not 2. When you go to 4, it becomes 12. So the interconnections grow exponentially. And that brings the complexity. Today, I may change one module, but that's not good enough. When I change one module or even tweak, make a small code change in that one module, I'll have to necessarily then test that change to all those nodes which are connecting to other modules. This change is not only for this. How much other modules it's affecting? And even that is not enough. Because today, the systems talk to each other through systems itself. My DGFT system talks to IceGate system on real-time, almost real-time basis. It's a whole community. It talks to bank. It talks to income tax for bank details when we try to issue IEC. It talks to banks. It talks to PFMS, the management, public finance management. So it talks to many systems. So any change in the system is not one day work anymore. I very frankly, I don't agree. It's lot. And then always there is some resource issues which you have to put. You have to take approval, you have to take resources and all. It's rather easier for you because you are in control of everything in your system. If you want to develop a system or want to change a system, you are in control. You can just say, okay, I want to do this. In my case, the money is not kept with me like that. Okay, you just change it. I have to take approvals and all, and then take those money and then put it to different priorities. Then you may have one priority. For you, that's the priority. Why don't you do it? But then I receive this kind of priority from so many people. So within my available resources, I also have to prioritize, and not necessarily I'll prioritize the way you want. Your priority may be highest for you, but me really not with that possible. I'll have to actually make that balance. I'm not saying that it should not be, your priority should not be on top, but there might be some other case which are even, some module is not working. So for me, that becomes a priority, that no, at least it should work. I'm getting, let's say 72%, I will always try for 100%. Take it my word that I am always trying for 100%. But out of 72%, if I am going to lose 5%, my first focus will be to first prevent that losing 5%. If my API with customs is not working due to some problem, that becomes my top priority to let it work. Otherwise, one license which I issue doesn't go to custom, the person is not able to export. So that becomes my much bigger priority. If there's some problem with my API and bank, I'll have to first resolve that. So first maintain that 72%, then probably go for 75%, 80% and all. I was just talking to Zonal Addl that we have a timeline by introducing new modules. What you say about status holder, I fully agree. Today, it should be possible that I don't ask any application from you. I have the data, how much you have exported last 3 years. Probably I can directly link it with your IC, and your IC becomes your status holder certificate. So it's technologically it should be possible. I'm not committing it. I'm not committing because that is offhand which comes to my mind that it should be done. But I'll have to do again a little more thorough study on that with my team, that whether this is good enough or there are some challenges, some risk and all this. Incidentally, I have an engineering background. So immediately when you talk to me like this, that why it doesn't fetch up the data and populates it there, my response is it should be done. But when I think about as a bureaucrat, I'll just say, okay, but first let me examine if there's any risk associated with it. So I will do that. And then we will see how we can do that.
Another problem, remember MDA, when the day was zonal DGFT, we had a discussion about all this delay happening, then postal delay or miss. Now you digitized it. Simply, you transmit to the ICE gate and exporters get the money just like that. It can happen. Even what happened, MES, somebody did something and you stopped issuing. This is another thing. And RCMC also, think of it. It's giving a lot of problem. One export I lost to catch the flight because the customs officer wanted my RCMC. I always give FIEO RCMC. They wanted the Capexil RCMC. For animal byproduct, you must produce the Capexil RCMC, he told me. At that time, it was pending there. For reason you won't believe, the Capexil office always wanted to get pleasure out of squeezing, harassing the exporter. Simple reason, I have got my Udyog Aadhar.
No, just hold on.
Sir, that 1 minute, Udyog Aadhar, I want to...
We have two options. Either we can talk of anecdotes and individual issues.
Okay.
We are about 200 here.
Yeah.
We can talk about that, but that will not benefit everyone else. So what I would suggest is, see, I'm again saying, when you talked about populating the IC, I immediately agree.
RCMC also, please try to do. Yeah.
But
Okay.
even if I agree, see, it's the institute which has to work, not be individual. If you make it individual based, I talk to you, I feel this should be done.
Okay. Generalize. Okay.
Tomorrow, if someone comes and feels it should not be done, it will not done. So that will not be a permanent solution. A permanent solution will be, I feel something should be done, but I discuss and make an institutional mechanism to do it. And why only for status holder? Probably not many more things can club in. If we have the data, we can use better data proactively. So as a principle, I agree that data can be proactively populated. As a principle, I agree. Now, if we talk to the team, we build a consensus in DGFT headquarters, we can also probably think not only status holder, what else can be made? That's one.
Good, sir.
And if there is any risk involved, see, There might be some risk which may not come to your mind, which may not come to my mind. But unless we talk to 10 people, we will not know it.
Sir, with the AI enabled, you can make a caution to the customs officer sitting in the AO desk to give a caution with all the data available with you.
Hold on, I have handled AEO.
Yeah.
I have issued AEO. I
So
have
you can
worked
do,
with that.
yeah.
So I'm supporting you on that. But see, sometimes we do that. Some idea has come to me, very great idea, it should be done immediately. No, even if it's a great idea, it's better to build consensus, better to reflect it with few people. See, it's very easy to make a change. It's very difficult to understand the whole, how that change will work and to manage that. That's a much more difficult thing. That's why the institutions are. Now, the one issue you are talking about capex here, see, I'll be a little reluctant to talk about any EPC. Now, one, the EPC basically represent you, it's yours. So if there's a problem in your EPC, see, it's, no, instead of talking to me, you see, EPCs are basically your representative. Because this kind of meeting is not easy. It cannot be done every day. I cannot have this kind of feedback. So we have representative bodies, like you have local MLAs, MPs, Pradhan, all this, your local business chambers. Similarly, we have EPCs, so that EPCs talk to each other, talk to their members, come with us and help us in making a policy which is good. Not only, but also pressurizing the other countries. Now, some of the office bearers or some of the organizations may not be able to, or may not be doing that. It doesn't mean that you abolish it all. Suppose, even if I, let's say, presume that what you are saying about an EPC is right, is all 100% true. But suppose your one representative, your one Pradhan or your one MLA probably is not doing what the person is supposed to do, you don't demolish the whole structure of democracy. You don't say, now no more election because this MLA is not doing it. No, that doesn't work. If you have a problem with MLA, you talk to other members, you talk to your population, say, don't vote for this fellow next time. You also go to the other election, you come to us for EPCs and all, but probably demolishing that system itself may not be a good.
No, I am not saying that, sir. What is the use of
No,
RCMC? No,
No,
that will be
No,
good.
you said that.
Good
You asked
also,
everyone. Everyone
definitely.
is here. We are
No,
not-
rather than making them competent authority, you have abolished. This is what is my word.
So,
And RCMC, don't use RCMC. Everybody should be able to export free products. No control, nothing. If control is one officer, you go and register there, export. Don't go to an export promotion council, pay them all the charges, pay them each export you pay 1,500 rupees and let them have crores of rupees to spend in 5-star hotel cocktail parties. This I don't want to happen.
Okay, name one country which has no control over import and export or any kind of trade. You won't find one country out of more than 200. Every country has to necessarily promote and regulate both internal trade as well as external trade. Hold on, give me a second. Now, a particular policy, you may have a problem. We are not gods. When we make a policy, we do huge consultation. Even then, the policies keep changing. That's why in this FTP, we have not made it 5 years. It's not that we will review it after 5 years or 2.5 years, mid-review or something. In this policy, we have said we will change it as and when required. The policy was issued on 1st April. If today on 27 April, there's a requirement of change, we will change it. There's no ego. There's no sacrosanct kind of. That flexibility we deliberately wanted to bring. That's why we didn't make it 5 years. So I'll suggest if there's any on policy level. See, one is on system that we talked about, that we said how we will.
Let me finish the system issue, which is the...
Another one is the policy level. The policy level, please send us your comments. Please send us your expert advice. that will be taken into account in changing the policy. Modifications, corrections, course corrections, changes will happen all the time. And that's the idea, right? You must be having my email address. It's there on the DGFT website. Please send me your details about export policy and about systems. I am the owner. I am the responsible person. You can send me.
Okay.
About other things, I'll have to go across my colleagues and talk to them. Please.
I'm a small packaging material manufacturer, and supplying to the SEZ units. Some of the large manufacturers of footwears, and they are very matured footwear manufacturers who have come in India to manufacture at very low cost. So they know all the schemes, and they made us to import materials for their requirement, and we are meeting their requirement. We are almost replacing their imports of the packaging materials and manufacturing in India and supplying to them. We import with the advance authorization, and all the benefit is passed on to the customer. We are not saving anything in it. As well as we have imported a lot of machineries under EPCG licenses. And we are doing good exports to them also. Our customer is also very happy, and we are continuing. Their business is growing, we are growing. The problem is redemption of the licenses. My account was with the State Bank of Mysore earlier, that got merged with SBI. We were not knowing anything about the EBRCs and all. We were making exports and were very happy that yes, I am doing so much export. We were doing that bill of export also and all that. When we went for the redemption, huge amounts were there, and we are finding that EBRCs are must. Now SBM was closed, merged with SBI. When we were running around the SBI, 1 or 2 years, they were not at all responding. And now slowly from there, then we switched over to Axis Bank, then from there to HSBC for our operational reasons. But we found it really difficult to get EBRCs, and we were not able to close the licenses, and continuously we are getting notifications from the DGFT. And now we have got orders also to pay. We would not have earned that much as much I have to pay now. Because I tell you, the footwear manufacturers to whom we are supplying are really competent. They are global manufacturers. They calculate each and every paise. They know everything about what we are doing for them. They don't give any extra leverage. If we do any mistake in quality also, we lose. So we are working really hard to meet their quality requirement, production, productivity and all that. And meanwhile, after doing a lot of exports, I'm not able to close my licenses, where on a press of a button, you can see from my account how much exports we have done. It should be actually closed by whenever we are making a bill of export, it should be closed against each of the pending licenses automatically, and I need not give you all the documents. I remember earlier days in 90s and 20s, we were allowed to supply under Form H and all that. And when we used to go for closure of that, they will ask for a lot of proofs and a lot of certificates from the exporters to whom we would have supplied the packing material. And packing materials for supplies, why the exporters will give all his bills copies to us to be submitted to the sales tax department to get the exemption. Otherwise, we used to pay the tax difference also. That same horrific situation is there for us right now. I'm doing good, really good, and still facing Chinese and Vietnamese exporters to India in packing material, and really competitive. They are competing and still supplying here. We want to get that orders also, but now our concentration and mind goes in all these obligations and meeting, and we are not seeing ourselves as more competitive. But as gentleman was saying, at press of a button, you can easily see what this company is doing, and we are not able to close so much procedures. Getting EBRCs was really difficult. And one more thing, in the SEZ billing, initially we did lot of exports with INR billing. For us, it was fine, good. I was very happy when doing in the INR. But later they say that those bills and all will not be accounted as these are INR. Then they said you have to get a certificate from the footwear company that these were from their FCA account. And that there the lot of officers have changed. The current people, they doesn't want to give any letter for the old things what somebody would have done, because there could be some other problems for the gentleman there. So they say, we cannot give the letter. Whatever is given. From which account and all, we are not ready to give any letter. And unless I get that letter, whatever INR sales we have made to the SEZ units is not considered as exports. And we are in a big problem. And now 2 months time you are giving us for amnesty scheme. In 2 months time, I am 100% sure I am not going to get EBRCs and even that letter. If I opt for this, I have to sell out whatever money I would have made back to you and come on the roads.
Regarding your first question, see, already policy in the application format, it was changed. We are aware of the problem that many exporters were facing in getting EBRCs, especially because many banks were merged, especially SBI, SBM got merged. So instead of EBRCs, we are accepting bank certificates, physical bank certificates in the particular format called Appendix 22B. We are accepting that. So this was already introduced somewhere in 2018 or 2019. We have already introduced that. I don't know why you are not guided on this thing. Regarding the other procedures, why we cannot get the data immediately. Some of the systems are still not online. Once the SEZ will also become EDI enabled, and also we are getting EDPMS data directly from the RBI. Now, if you see the new advance authorizations, all the shipping bill data, you can easily link. Once you enter the authorization number, those shipping bill data is automatically fetched, and also the EBRCs are automatically linked. So going forward, this will be addressed step by step. Regarding the amount to be realized from the foreign currency account of the SEZ unit, that is a policy decision. Whenever you are supplying to a SEZ unit, if you are supplying to a SEZ developer, basically we are not insisting that the amount should come out of the foreign currency account. But if you are supplying to a SEZ unit, basically the SEZ unit works on the concept of the net foreign exchange. So whenever you are supplying to a SEZ unit, the policy was already in very clear in its place, saying that the amount, they should confirm that whatever payment which has been done in INR is from the surplus amount from the foreign currency account.
We are not aware. We missed something, and for that we get so much penalty.
See. Any policy, please. See, any policy has two aspects. One aspect is a genuine working of that policy, and another aspect is misuse of that. It's incumbent again. It's obligatory for any person who takes benefit of a policy to know the policy conditions and work accordingly. Let me be frank about it. Why for SEZ, that particular certificate that the money is being paid from the foreign exchange is concerned, why it's required is, if that condition is not there, many SEZ people will misuse it. They will, no, hold on, listen to me also, please. I can pay in SEZ, I can pay from my domestic account, and I can save the foreign exchange for making it NFE and take the benefits. So when any policy is made for benefit of any sector, some conditions are always attached with that to prevent its misuse. That has to be there and that has to be followed. Else the whole purpose of the policy will be defeated. The level playing field in the policy will be defeated. You are honest, so you will do the right thing. Someone is not honest, he will do the wrong thing. You will get out of the business because someone is misusing it, misusing the policy provisions without actually following the conditions. So if anywhere, let's say, suppose you are exporting something. Let's say, what could be the biggest facilitation? exporting or importing. The biggest facilitation will be if you remove the customs and all the regulatory agencies from the border. If you remove customs, you remove FSI, if you remove PQ, if you remove AQ, there can be no bigger facilitation than that. Because you just send it, just receive it, right? That will not work. That will not work in favor of the genuine importer and exporter. Because if no regulatory authority is there, the one who misuses the policies, one who is doing wrong thing, will have no fear, will have no risk, and they will drive you out of the business. So regulation is required. It's essential for providing that level playing field. Now for EBRC, he has clarified that in this merger and all, if you have difficulty in EBRC, you can have the manual. Some certifications are there, even the statements and all are there. Even the statements we accept. So either you talk to your advisors, experts, or you can visit the zonal the DGFT office. They will also guide. As far as SEZ foreign account is concerned, it's a policy. Please, every one of you, please know, if you are supplying to SEZ as export, it's important and must that you first talk to the SEZ, say, if you want my goods as your import, then you will have to give me this certificate that you are paying me from your foreign account. Only if they agree, if bilaterally, if you come to this term, only please supply to them from PTA as a export. Else, normal course you can do. You get your GST benefit, we have no issues with that. But to SEZ, if you want export benefit, the money has to come from the foreign. See, most of the benefits are for the export and foreign exchange. Now, if you are not sure that whether it is foreign exchange or not, why you should get the benefit in the first place? Foreign company, because they will get you the foreign exchange. But if there's, suppose Nepal, you can just send in Indian rupees without going through the foreign exchange. It's foreign country, actual foreign country, not notional foreign country like SEZ. But you don't get any benefit if the trade is only in normal rupee amount. It's not. See, Indian rupee is a legal tender in Nepal and Bhutan. Right? So you can send it. You can send it normal rupee currency. You can take the money in rupee. But unless it is through the postro account, unless it is through the foreign currency account, the benefit will not come. You think from the policy perspective also, why there is a benefit? Why there is a benefit for export? Because the money comes in foreign currency. No? That's the whole purpose. Okay. Now see, what you are saying would have been right if SEZs were completely prohibited from selling into domestic area. Then what you are saying is correct. Fine, but still the money comes into the domestic account, no? It doesn't come into your foreign account. So from that domestic amount, if they pay you, then your export there doesn't matter, no? Doesn't become. Then it's DTA to DTA sale. See, I am a DTA company. I import something paying customs duty, right? DTA person, huh? DTA company. I can sell that thing then to you, or you can sell something to me. The transactions will be only in the domestic currency. There's no foreign currency involved in it. How can there be any benefit when no foreign currency is involved? So this is a policy perspective. If you don't put that policy condition, see, you might have made a genuine mistake by not entering into that. But if you remove that policy condition, everyone will do it. Then why I should not do it? SEZs do have Indian rupee account. Yeah, correct. But what? Fine. As I understand. Fine. What if they have paid you out of those sale proceeds? Possible, no? That's why this policy condition is there. So my advice to everyone here is, if you are selling to an SEZ, as export and you want the export benefits, before selling, please have a deal with the SEZ that they will have to pay you from their foreign, not from domestic currency. Okay? But apart about your EBRC, that you. 2 months, I don't think I will be able to. But it's a simple process.
You see, Appendix 22B is, you will have your bank statements.
Then what's the problem?
What was, did you, with the bank statement and the chartered accountant certificate? You're an advance authorization case. When did you submit?
Send your numbers.
You please write to Chennai DGFT. You have that common mail, na? Refer this meeting and tell me your licenses. Yeah, please do come. Please do come. Please do come. Because we've helped a whole bunch of people. Yours is a very anomaly case because EBRCs, wherever the banks have got merged, you have constantly agreed to Appendix 22B. I was surprised when you said this. Let me, anyway, you please, you can send by email. Don't need to spend time. We will refer back to you. Not a problem. Okay. But send it to Chennai DGFT. And in the reference, refer this meeting so that I'll remember that this is the case. Okay.
Okay, this for general come across some. See, for general exporters, we have come across some cases where your foreign currency had come on time within whatever period is specified. But for some reason, the banks have not uploaded EBRC on time. So suppose the time limit is 3 years, you have realized your foreign currency within 3 years, but by the time the banks have actually uploaded it on the system, the 3 years have passed and your some benefits are denied and all. In all these cases, please refer to PRC. You have a policy relaxation committee. I am a member of that committee. Please send it. Please give the detail that my money had come within time. The bank for some reason has delayed in uploading it. We will relax and give you the benefit. For any fault of the bank, the exporter will not be penalized. I can commit you now here in the open meeting. Rest assured about it. But send it to PRC. Okay?
Here is a very dangerous situation for people. Enforcement Directorate is taking action. It's applicable to me. If there are a lot of small enforcement who never bother about equality, but they have realized in fact like you said, they are being questioned at EDO. I think EPC should try to inform this to all the exporters so that they take serious note.
Not only EPC, you also inform. Community, they also have to take responsibility.
Yeah, always tell it. 45 years I have been the only exporter in India with 100% export. Realization. 100%. Without commission I am telling. Bank commission also my buyer paid to me. I make it that way.
Yes, sir. Sir,
What about this side? I have not heard any question from this side. One from here. After
okay.
Yeah.
I am Surya Narayanan, Project Manager from GA Agro Technologies, Chennai. We export cashew processing machinery mainly to Africa. And while installation, we have some problem. We need to send some urgent spares. At the time of installation, some get damaged, some to be changed according to the site condition. The allowance given for free export of samples or warranty samples are 50,000 rupees, fixed some several decades back, I believe, and it has to be increased according to the present rupee value against dollar. Also, the free gift value of 25,000, also fixed decades back, has to be enhanced.
Prima facie, I agree, right? That it needs to keep on revising. What happens? Any relaxation on these things has to be done by DOR, by Finance Ministry and Department of Revenue. So please send me an email. We will take it up with DOR, Finance Ministry, Department of Revenue. But we are not the final authority on this. We can issue this notification. We can increase the limit only when Finance Ministry agrees. On our own, we cannot do it. So we will take it up with them. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, in some cases, shipping bill is not reflected earlier, sir. It takes time. And because of that, all my banking channels has been disturbed. And means once if I mail to IceGate, I'll be getting a reply that it has been reflected. And when I used to communicate the same mail to my bank, they'll be like, okay, sir, we'll check and we'll get back to you. And it will get reflected in the second session, means after 2. And the whole process get delayed because of that, sir. So what would be your suggestion on this?
IceGate issue or DGFT?
No, IceGate issue.
Then my dear friend is here. He will help us.
But I get instantly, sir. I get this improved very much.
Yes,
Before.
no, it means most of the cases I know report are yes.
See, my advice will be 2. My advice will be 2. One, please send me an email. Maybe I will check with IceGate, not as a DGFT per se, but because I have that link with the customs. So probably I can check with them. My second advice is, please meet him. What right he is doing that he's not getting a problem? Maybe in your process, there might be some issue. Just meet him. Probably 2 of you can have that best practice where, like IceGate responds in a much better way. And then please tell everyone. Okay?
There are 2 possibilities, the port as well as the bank. Because your bank may not be also, because in one case, I did this and it was the bank, not the port. No. It is because this bank's server in Mumbai was not connecting with RBI. There was some delay. So it was not coming to the field branch office. So this problem is actually not IceGate also. What I'm saying is the problem is not, in your case, I would say when you work with very small banks which don't have very active thing, these problems will occur. Because you see, at the end of the day, this is infrastructure. The cost of maintaining the infrastructure. The banks, those banks also should have that kind of capacity to maintain the infrastructure. So when I resolved one case, it was with the bank and not with IceGate at all. So if it is a similar issue, that's why I'm trying to check it up with your bank. The last question.
As to all the activities, what we do, especially foreign trade activity. So when we try to sell our merchandise, especially apparel or textiles, so if we go to Walmart, they have the buying index which is $2.5, but our average merchandise value in India is $5 plus. Then when we do the costing, like we will find out what are the factors. So like oil is one of the factor, like which goes in input in manufacturing, which is very costly, double the. Then when we talk about China plus, when we always compare with China, what is the cost of capital in China? It is 3.5%. But then we start from 7%. 6.5% is the repo rate from India RBI. So where does we stand? Like we cannot have the competitiveness unless we reduce these 2 very highly critical compounding factors. We need to reduce these cost factors so that everything is on streamlined way. We have the reduced cost and we have the higher competitiveness to fulfill our goal, which is $5 trillion. So thank you.
The issue you raised is a little complex one. Each country will have its strengths and its weaknesses, and that's how the different competitiveness is built on. Like, let's say, for example, Europe might be having very good infrastructure to reduce the transaction cost, but probably has a very high labor cost. We have probably low labor cost, but I am not sure about how much productivity wise the labor works. Similarly, in some way, regulations might be very, very strong, making your manufacturing cost very high. Somewhere regulation may not be that strong, and so your cost comes down. So different countries will have different capacities, different competitiveness, different strengths, different weaknesses and all. We cannot, it's difficult. It's difficult for any government to handle all those complex issues. We can work in some sectors, some way to help, like the interest cost, there's a scheme of interest subvention. To some extent that takes care. About our infrastructure costs, like I was basically talking about that, there's a very renewed focus on building up infrastructure, both hard and soft, to reduce the cost on that. So now let's say we have a dedicated freight corridor. That actually reduces the cost of transportation. It reduces delay. From Delhi to Mundra, earlier it used to take 1 week. Now it takes about 30 hours or something, 30 hours, 36 hours for the train to go. And it's double stacked. So on one train, one rack, there are 180 containers, which goes on one train. Now you just think of the massive improvement which happens in this logistics. And I'm talking only about one corridor. The kind of highway networks we have built in, they all, the kind of GST introduction, so that when you cross the state boundaries at everywhere, you don't have to stop. I'm not sure, you are the better judge about that, but our feeling is this must have translated into some reduction in the cost and building up some competitiveness. Similarly, even at the ports, the kind of massive infrastructure upgrade which has happened in the port is kind of mind-boggling in very recent years. The streamlining which is being done, the integration between different departments which is being done, like the kind of integration between, let's say, DGFT and other partner governments, which we have built in last 3-4 years, had not happened. Now with almost all the government agencies with which we do the business, they are integrated. Some, the integration is higher, with some the integration is lower. We are in talk with ICE Gate to build in some more functionalities, to do some more data exchange. Those things are being done. So some we will help, some you will have to help. That's how we build up our competitiveness. Any concrete suggestions on this, we are open. We will welcome.
Thank you so much, sir, for patiently hearing all the queries and patiently replying to all the questions also. Thank you so much. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to give a small memento. I request Mr. Unnikrishnan, Joint DG, to kindly honor all our guests. To Mr. Subhash Chandra Agarwal, IRS Additional DGFT from headquarters. Also to Madam, okay, sir. Also to Madam Rajalakshmi Devaraj, IDAS Zonal Additional DGFT, Chennai. And to Mr. B.N. Vishwas, ITS Joint DGFT, Chennai. Mr. K. Hrishikesh Reddy, ITS Deputy DGFT, Chennai. Also on behalf of MMA Group Captain R. Vijay Kumar, Executive Director MMA, is like to hand over the gift. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. We also request, we have handed over the feedback form. Kindly fill the feedback form and kindly submit to our colleagues are here, so that help us to give you a better service in the coming days also. And with this, I would like to call upon Mr. Talabadi, Assistant DGFT Chennai, to propose his vote of thanks. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected dignitaries on the stage, my dear colleagues, members, and trade fraternity, I convey my warm regards and thank you for providing me with this opportunity. I sincerely thank Joint DGFT Mr. Vishwas, Deputy DGFT Mr. Rishikesh Reddy for explaining the new features of the foreign trade policy and the amnesty scheme in a very lucid and simple manner. As we have seen, the current foreign trade policy is a dynamic and continuing policy. It will be amended as and when responding to the needs of the exporters and the changing global economic scenarios. And a clear tone has been set up by explaining the government's readiness to respond for the exporters' growth and trade facilitation on a real-time basis. And in the address by the Zonal Addl DGFT, we have seen an overview of the exports from Tamil Nadu, explaining the detailed picture of the various products exported and in potentials in and other sectors where we can improve. And it was mentioned that a detailed market analysis has to be undertaken by the exporters. More effort is required in product and market diversification from exporters to capture the new markets. As the world is evolving with respect to economical and technological perspectives, we also have to evolve to withstand global competition with respect to quality and standards, so that our products are pitched and demanded in the global market. And as it was already mentioned in the address by the additional DGFT, Shri Subhash Chandra Agarwal, sir, there is no other better experts than the exporters yourselves. DGFT as an organization and all the regional authorities are ready to help all of you and render assistance as and when required. And any queries or representation are always welcome, and will be ensured that suitable actions are taken and efforts will be put to resolve the same. And I once again thank all the participants attending this session and this very hot summer day and making this event a successful one. Last but not the least, special thanks to Madras Management Association and FIEO for coordinating with DGFT and making this event a grand success in such a short notice. It is happy to see that the new foreign trade policy is taken up to the wider audience and awareness is created through the effort. I wish you all a wonderful day ahead and thank you once again for joining us.